Welcome to Customer Service Academy Radio with author and customer experience expert Tony Johnson. Tony will share his vision for successful customer service, leadership, and business excellence, and speak to some of the most impactful leaders in business today. And now, here's Tony Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Customer Service Academy is on the air. I'm Tony Johnson, your customer experience speaker, consultant, and trainer. Today's episode coming to you courtesy of Ignite Your Service Training and Consulting and 4XI Global Consulting and Solutions. Truly, better together. As we are heading into the summer months and spring is starting to heat up, we are offering specials on all of our training programs, particularly frontline employee hospitality skills training and workshops for leadership development. Head on over to igniteyourservice.com/training to learn more, and I'll put the link in the show notes. So last week, really amazing event in Orlando, Florida. You know me, I am a huge fan of local chambers of commerce, and the Orlando Economic Partnership in Orlando, Florida is a fantastic organization. Shout out to Joe Horn, by the way, who is as good as it gets when it comes to being a representative for an economic partnership and really just being a great business development person and someone that I've worked with quite closely, and he's just a great guy. He really does a great job of taking care of businesses and really making the case for why Orlando is such a fantastic place to start and keep your business. So last week, they hosted their annual Orlando Economic Partnership Barbecue in the Park. So this is a really great event where they have all these local vendors come in. They have all these local barbecue places come in. They also have some chain. They have like Mission Barbecue and some of those folks, but they also have some local places like Smokin' Donuts and some really cool places like that that just do a really good job. And so you go around and you get to try all this great barbecue stuff. It's included in admission. They give you a ticket and you can vote on who had the best service and food and that kind of thing. And they have a great little bar with beer and water and soda pop and stuff like that. But it is a really nice event. I get to see people that maybe I haven't seen in a few months, or sometimes that's where I see them, is at this event every year. And I always run into folks I don't expect to. And it's a really nice event. It runs from 5 to 8. And we really had like the best weather you could ever want. Usually it's super hot and I'm kind of like fat guy in a little coat. But this year it was like in the 70s and it got down into the 60s when the sun went down. And since it runs from 5 to 8, it started off on the warm side and then you can put on a quarter zip or a sweatshirt and be okay for the rest of the night. But it was just a beautiful night with music and networking, and they always do such a tremendous job. So just shout out to the Orlando Economic Partnership for really getting it done there. And then we're really looking forward to here in Lakeland, Florida on March 25th. You can go to the Lakeland Chamber of Commerce website. We are having Schmoozapalooza. It is a networking event, a speed networking event. You will get to meet dozens of people. So if you are in Lakeland, Florida on March 25th, sign up for Schmoozapalooza. You can go to the Lakeland Chamber of Commerce website and sign up there. So those are my public service announcements for my local chambers of commerce. So I thought this week would be fitting as we start to come into spring and summer. It always makes me think of theme parks. It always makes me think of county fairs. It always makes me think of really being a kid and going to Indiana Beach. That was what we did when I was a kid. That was our big excursion. Now, you know me, I'm a Disney and Universal nut right now, but also I just love theme parks in general. So even locally, Fun Spot, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, there are so many great places along with Disney and Universal to go and take your family. And I enjoy it. And I think that comes from having grown up in a family that every summer we made a 1-week trek to Indiana Beach. We would stay on property. They actually had motels and hotels inside of the park. It was really cool. We used to stay actually inside the park, inside the gates, which was really fun. And that was really where I got my first experiences with theme parks. So it was something that we did every summer. We would go as a big family. I would save my allowance from mowing lawns and whatever it was I was doing to make money all year long so that I could really have a great time during that week. It was so much fun. And so really appreciated all the great work they did at Indiana Beach. They're actually still open. They went through some closures and reorganizations, but still, they really have a special place in my heart. So this week, as things start to warm up outside, really thinking about crafting these unforgettable and engaging theme park experiences. So if you are in this market, if you are in the leisure market, theme parks, if you do fairs, if you do festivals, this would be a great thing to listen to for you, because I'm going to line out what customers, consumers, and guests are saying they want from those in the theme park experience business and how you can deliver it. So let's get to it. Let's really jump in and get to it. So let's first start by talking about what customers want. What do they want from their theme park destination experience? It starts with safety. So as you know, my experience guidelines: safety, hospitality, quality, simplicity, and community. Safety is the non-negotiable. So making sure that you're balancing the thrills and the amazingness of your park with speed and with safety above all, making sure that your security is in place to keep everyone safe while you protect that fun. And again, knowing that safety is that key non-negotiable. So it could be about cleanliness, could be about food safety, could be about how safe the rides and attractions are. It's making sure that the place is clean, it's well kept, well manicured, and just overall a safe and secure experience for those visiting. If you don't get that right with your experiences, with your rides, with your food, with your beverage, then really nothing else matters. The next piece is around customer understanding. Customers and guests really expect that you're going to understand them. Guest centricity is so important here. This means that everything that you design and all of your service is really centered around the guests and their experience. So where do you fit? That's the first thing you need to understand is what are customers, what are guests expecting from you? So if you think about sort of the microcosm of experience, if you think about the gamut, right? It runs from value to luxury. So you may be a value park, you may be an everyday park, you may bring an elevated experience. You may be on the premium side, or you may fit into the luxury experience. Here's the good news. It doesn't matter where you fit on this spectrum. It doesn't matter one bit. What matters is that you understand where you fit. You understand when customers and guests come to you, what they're looking for and what they expect you to deliver for your price point. Because you may be listening to this, you may be on the expensive side, you may be in the Disneys of the world or the Universals with private tours and things like that. You may be on the more everyday side. You may be in the Indiana Beach or the Fun Spot. Doesn't matter. Every one of these parks delivers something that is absolutely amazing. So when you think about that, that's where you know where you thrive. You know where you win, and you're delivering what you promise. Also, understand sort of by segment or generation what guests most want. So, for example, if you're in the baby boomer generation, you're probably looking for high quality service. You're looking for premium experiences. You're looking for accessibility. Those kinds of things really important. Gen Xers, efficiency, simplicity, quality for the money and the value. Your millennials or your Gen Ys, they're looking for community-driven experiences, authentic experiences, Instagrammable moments and food festivals. Your Gen Zs, highly personalized experience, interactive, gamified. And then Gen Alpha, these folks were born between 2013 and 2024, so these folks could be 10, 12, 13 years old, so they are consumers for sure. Seamless integration, again, highly interactive, sensory-rich, story-driven, immersive experiences. And then Gen Beta is on the rise, right? Just started. That cohort just started. Not sure what they're going to want yet, right? Because they're like 2 months old. But be thinking about this. Gen Beta, Gen B, they will never know a world without artificial intelligence. They will never know that world without augmented and virtual reality. They'll never know that world where those things didn't exist. So think about that in your future planning. But again, keeping that in mind and what that means, that's going to be really important because you have to know your guests. You have to know them if you're going to take care of them. So invest the time to understand what guests want from you by generation, by demographic, by geography. Now, immersive experiences continue to be all the rage. So if you have gone to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, if you have seen the new Epic Universe at Universal Studios, if you have gone to Galaxy's Edge in the Disney parks, you absolutely know that immersive experiences are all the rage right now. So what folks are looking for are those personalized experiences that feel just for them. World building and storytelling that helps people forget their troubles for a day or a week or an hour. So important. Integrating technology seamlessly. I think about Great Wolf Lodges and their water parks where they have these wand experiences, the same thing they would do over in Harry Potter's area at Universal Studios. Or my nieces used to love to do the Perry the Platypus adventure at Epcot. They would go around and solve all the clues to watch Perry slide around and solve the puzzles and things. Very interactive, very personalized, very storytelling driven. And then thinking about how the smells, the music, the lighting, the character interactions, the cultural history, local foods, where the food came from, all of these things can create more immersive experiences. And again, depending on where you fall in the spectrum of experience, you may offer those things on different levels, but just know, offer them in a way that makes sense for your price point. The next piece, operational excellence. So speed of service, line queue times. Do you have an opportunity for folks to do a virtual queue or a return to line system like a fast pass kind of piece or an in-app experience where folks can book ride times? What can you do to build a capacity in your rides and to really make the waits feel as minimal as possible? And then think about that in the future. If you're in a position where you're building new rides, new attractions, new areas of your park, build with capacity and wait time and interactivity in mind. That also comes to how efficiently you've laid out your park. Thinking about flow. Every park, there are some parks out there that do a great job. Disney has the hub and spoke. Hershey Park, very well laid out. You think about Dollywood and the great job they do. Even places like Legoland and Cedar Point have all put thought into how the parks are laid out. Now, are they all perfect? Absolutely not. There's always opportunity for improvement here. So think about, how do you fix that layout? If you have a flow problem, how do you fix that? And the only way to understand it is to get out there and walk it. If you think you've got a flow problem or you want to evaluate your flow and your efficiency, go take the ride, go take the walk, go take the tour through the park and look at that guest journey and see where the friction points are, and then go start to smooth those rough edges off. And then think about, are your rides and attractions all in working order? Are they well kept up? Are they well painted? Are they clean? Are they safe? Are the food and beverage operations competing with what folks can get on the street? Are you watching those trends? Are you bringing in the trends that folks are getting on the street into your operation and then sort of theming them so that they really identify with your park and your location? But you've got to watch those trends because consumers and guests are looking for those kind of experiences inside the park from a retail food and beverage perspective. And then really continuing to dig in to the food, beverage, and retail piece. Is your food safe? Is it delicious? Is hot food hot and cold food cold? Is it fast? Is it a good value? Have you integrated technology in a way that allows folks to do mobile ordering? Or maybe you've geo-fenced your restaurant so as you walk by, something might pop up on somebody's phone and it'll say, hey, you're near XYZ restaurant. Would you like to place an order? Or we're offering a special, because then maybe you can bring people in at what we call the shoulder periods, those kind of off-peak periods to sort of round out the traffic. Because food and beverage has these peaks and valleys. We all know that if you're in the business. So how can you bring people in during those non-peak times to start to smooth them out so you don't have those huge peaks and valleys? And then thinking about maintaining value. Now, I get it. If you're probably trying to pay for all the overhead of your theme park, you're making some of that up on merchandise and food and beverage. It's a great place to do it. Beverage is one of the most profitable places to do it, particularly if you offer cocktails and beer and wine and things like that. Those are great money makers for you. So think about, how can you make those a great value for the location in which folks are purchasing them? Everyone understands food and beverage are going to be a little pricier inside of a park, but how do you make that worth the value? Really think about that and bring that home for them. Think about those interactive experiences. Is it character dining, gift shops that are themed to the particular area, limited time edition merchandise that commemorates special events or milestones or first visits or whatever that is, so that it gives folks an opportunity to buy, but it also entices them to continue to buy. I think about the 50th anniversary merchandise that Disney put out. That stuff was huge for them. So really thinking about what kind of items can you sell that will commemorate a festival, an event, a milestone. That'll give people an incentive to want to continue to buy merchandise long after they bought their first t-shirt. And then think about, from a food and beverage perspective, is it local? Do you have that local opportunity? Is it on trend? Is sustainability a big deal to your guests? Is it trackable if it's something like seafood or something like that, so you really know, or maybe it's local to the point where you know it's from a local farm? That could be kind of cool as well. And then think about these holiday and celebration offerings, around the course of the year. Maybe you have a special event or festival or holiday. Make sure the food fits that. Folks love that stuff. Again, another reason for folks to come back. So think about next driving the emotional connectivity. So all things are emotional. I will tell you, Indiana Beach, in my mind, is still someplace, if they called me tomorrow and said, hey, can you come and do a keynote here? That would make my day. It would be one of those things where I would be so excited to take my family up and show them my first theme park experience, because I can still close my eyes and kind of walk that park. We went there so often when I was a kid. I still feel very emotionally connected to Monticello, Indiana, and Indiana Beach. So when you think about how you can build that with your guests, think about those photo opportunities to create those memorable moments, those memorable experiences, those must-have photos with your park icon or with a great background or something that'll look really good on social media. Building that sense of nostalgia and shared experiences, nothing makes folks want to come back than when they shared a moment that became a story that they tell at dinner parties or talk about as a family, or, hey, remember that time when we all had funnel cakes on the Schaefer Queen at Indiana Beach, or whatever that something is. So whatever those little things are, and I'll give you an example. I keep coming back to Indiana Beach on this, but I can remember as a kid in Lake Monticello, they had these giant carp. I mean, carp so big that as a kid I thought I could jump in and ride them. These huge carp. And we used to throw popcorn off the side of the boardwalk into the water, and the carp would come up and eat it. And it was just sort of a thing everybody did. And they were the biggest, fattest carp you ever saw. And it was something we did all the time. To this day, when I talk to my dad and Indiana Beach comes up, one of the first things we talk about is feeding the carp off the boardwalk. So again, it might seem like a silly little memory, but it truly is something that people will remember. And if you can create those emotional experiences, and the same thing's true for Disney. And when I took my nieces there, took my son there, what a great experience. Still look back at those pictures with nostalgia and just this sense of having such a great time. Or thinking about my annual trek to Halloween Horror Nights with my brother-in-law at Universal Studios, or going over to Legoland with the nieces and nephews. All of these things continue to build emotional connection. And that's what you really want to do with your guests. The other thing that you can do is build a sense of gamification and interaction. It could be the wand experience at Universal Studios. It could be the interactivity they keep promising us at Disney's Galaxy's Edge. It could be any number of things. It could be building a lightsaber at the Star Wars experience at Disney. Whatever these things are where you can have this sense of interactivity or even gamification, that will really be a powerful catalyst for folks to feel connected and want to come back. And then the final piece I want to share from our research on what guests most want: special events and experiences. So there are some that are just a part of the day. Could be shows, could be parades, could be fireworks. I think about the Disney fireworks, as everybody does. I think about the Indiana Beach skiers that they used to do, these ski shows. I think about the SeaWorld Seven Seas Food Festival, Epcot Food and Wine. All of these things are a part of the daily operations, if you will, just a part of being in the park. These character greetings, all of these things are a part of just being there. Then there are these hard ticket events. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, Halloween Horror Nights, all of those kind of things, Mickey's Christmas Party. These are the kind of events that folks have to pay extra for. Another example is Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream. So when you think about all of these kind of hard ticket events, they're another reason for folks to come to the park. These usually happen after hours. The park may close a few hours early, and it may, if the park closes at 5, it may go from 5:30 until midnight or something like that. So you may trim an hour or two off of your park closing, but then you've got a special hard ticket event, good revenue generator, good Instagrammable social media moments, and also another reason for folks to come back to the park. So keep thinking about those kind of things. Let's talk about where to start. I just dumped a ton on you, and I get it. And I hope you found a lot of writer downers in there. And if you're loving the show, and I know you are, scroll on down and leave 5 stars, say something nice, leave a comment, share it on social media. Help keep Customer Service Academy one of the top podcasts in the world for customer service and experience. So where to start? What do you do with all this information? First thing I want you to do is start by reviewing your customer feedback. I want you to look through your guest feedback. I want you to analyze it. Then I want you to see what they're saying. And then I want you to put a plan together to fix any of the cracks in your experience that you're seeing there. So that's the first thing, is go to your guest feedback, your voice of the customer, VOC, and really understand what your customers are saying and what they want. And then think about some of the big hitters, right? Focus on those wait times, building with speed in mind, making sure that your loading and queue processes are efficient. Make sure your posted wait times are accurate and shared out either on a sign or in the app, or both, hopefully. And then look for ways to make the wait more palatable. That could be interactivity. That could be storytelling inside of the line. Could be AR and games. Make sure you've got that great Wi-Fi, because guests can kill time on their phones and devices. Look for interesting details that you can share within the queue or interactive queues. Music and entertainment, good pre-shows, surprise moments. These will all help the line feel a little more palatable. So I want you to double down on guest service. I want you to ensure that your team is well trained and developed with that guest mindset, and invest in hospitality skills training and leadership development. Now, if you need help with that, and I know a lot of you let your training teams go, if you need help with that, reach out. This is what we do. We help organizations every day. We will come into your business. We will show up at your park. We will help you train your frontline employees on your service standards to deliver great hospitality. We will do leadership workshops to help your leaders lead and take care of your team members. And we will do it all in a way that will help you deliver the most amazing guest experiences. This is what we do. And we do have time open on our schedules. If you want to try to get this in before your peak summer months, reach out right now. We can get you on the calendar and get you booked right now. Also, defining those steps of service. What does it mean to deliver great hospitality in your organization, and what are your steps of customer service? You need to define those. We can help you with that as well. Build a team by selecting the very best team members with that engagement in mind, with that hospitality mindset, positive people who have a great attitude. Hire them and bring them in. And then leaders, I want you to set a great example. If you walked by it, you endorsed it. So you got to set a great example, and you need to lead your teams well and make sure that they are ready to deliver, and that your first piece is that you're taking care of your team. Because how you take care of your team is how they will take care of guests, and that'll be the perception of your brand and your service. Never forget that. Make sure that you're really looking at your cleanliness and maintenance. Tour your parks regularly and make sure that your preventative maintenance or PM schedule is up to date and being followed. And if there is a larger capital plan in place, make sure that it's allowing for refurbishments, refits, new construction, but make sure that your capital management process is well locked down and that you have a plan. Focus on those key points for guest satisfaction: restrooms, dining areas, walkways, ride queues. Those are the big hitters. That's the money walk. And make sure that you've got ample shaded areas, cooling stations. Please have enough seating. That's the biggest thing I've noticed. You do not have enough seating. Almost no theme parks have enough seating. I get it. You want to keep people moving, but having some seating is not a bad thing. And then having great water dispensers available to make sure folks can get their own water and stay hydrated throughout the day. Leverage that technology. Make sure that your apps can book dining, book experiences, buy tickets, that it has an interactive map. Make sure that it's there. Integrate AR and those gamified experiences throughout the park. We talked about geofencing earlier. That's a really cool one if you can enable that inside of your app for special experiences, special timing for offers, special pricing for restaurants. And then make sure that your tech works. This is a huge experience killer if the app doesn't work or if it's hard or doesn't make sense. So make sure the app works. Make sure that your point of sale systems move quickly. Don't buy one that's arduous. Clean it up and make sure it's easy for your team to use. And if you're using contactless payment, make sure that it's fast. Make sure that your Wi-Fi network is robust enough to keep up with demand, because people hate slow Wi-Fi, and it's a huge dissatisfier for guests. You're not going to get a lot of credit for having great Wi-Fi, but you will get constant bad comments if you have bad Wi-Fi. Okay, so just remember that's important. And just make sure, again, that it's robust enough to support your busiest days. That's what all of this has to survive, is your busiest days. And then look to improve your food and beverage at key points. So make sure that the food's good. Hot food hot, cold food cold, that it's fresh. Sometimes theme park food gets a bad rap. It has improved a lot over the years, and in fact, some theme parks do a tremendous job with culinary offerings. Some struggle. So think about it. Is your food good? Is there enough food offering? Is there good variety? And is it hot? Is it fresh? Is it delicious? Make sure that you've got those signature offerings that guests can't get anywhere else, but also that they're aligned with what's happening out in the marketplace, with the trends in the marketplace. Make sure that there's capacity. There's nothing worse than a theme park that has like one hot dog stand and the line is 1,000,000 miles long. Make sure that you've got capacity. You can use mobile stands that can be opened and closed as attendance flexes throughout the day, but make sure you have enough points of service. It's a huge dissatisfier, particularly for food and for beverage. If you're offering, water, beer, wine, signature cocktails, watch that capacity. And then leverage local. Look for opportunities that you can bring in local partnerships with local restaurants, with local trends, with geographic preferences. Make sure that you're featuring those things, and remember preferences and restrictions for your guests. Think about vegan or vegetarian or those allergen-friendly offerings. Really understand what folks need and want, and make sure that you're offering it for your guests, because food and beverage is a huge way to satisfy and really give people a reason to want to come back. Now, as we come to the finish line here, let's talk about the payoff. What happens if you get this stuff right? 4 big things. You're going to increase your repeat visits, period. Guests are going to want to come back and relive those moments. It's going to boost your word of mouth marketing. People are going to share these great experiences, both, right directly to people they know and on social media. It's going to drive higher spending. Emotionally connected guests are more likely to spend on merch, food, exclusive experiences, hard ticket events. You're going to drive higher spending, higher ticket averages. And then you're going to create long-term brand advocates. You're going to create fans. You're going to create those fans that want to come back. They want to tell their friends. They're going to tell people you got to go see it because they're going to feel personally connected to the park, to your experiences. And that's tremendous. If you think about it, Disney, Chick-fil-A, Ritz-Carlton, they have those kind of fans. You can be in that same company. What a great place to be. So folks, that is our show. Remember, we're still in the middle of the great service comeback. And also remember, competition is fierce out there for discretionary dollars. The economy continues to tighten up a little bit. And when that happens, folks tend to pull back a little bit on discretionary spending. So you want to make sure that you're putting people in a position where they want to come to your location with those discretionary dollars. And leisure will still have tremendous capacity for customer loyalty and revenue, even in tough times, if you are the park of choice. So until next time, I've been Tony Johnson, your customer experience strategist and trainer, reminding you to keep your guests at the center of everything you do, because that's where the most amazing things are possible. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will talk to you next week.
This has been Customer Service Academy Radio with Tony Johnson. Tony is available to speak at your event, meeting, or workshop. Have a powerful customer-focused day.